Well, it's me, Mike. Today we're going to just do a cleaning on a PTACT inside the room. There's other ways that we can clean these up by taking them outside and hosing them down, but most of the time we can get by cleaning them up in the room, the evaporators and the condensers, and wiping them down. So that's if they're not as dirty as one that maybe hasn't been done in quite a while. So we're going to look into this one and see what we got. You come in and take your covers off, and you'll pull your panel off the bottom that covers your electric connections. Slide it out of the way and just go ahead and pull your plug on the unit. Pull it out. It lets you. So we'll pull it out. We also got to unhook the thermostat off the wall with the plug that's on the unit. So we'll pull him off and out of the picture. That's the wire that controls your thermostat on the wall. We're going to remove the 4 screws that hold the PTACT in its sleeve. We've got a board. It's just a regular old moving board you would find in a hardware store. And we're going to bring the PTACT out and set it on this board so we can then observe all the dirt. So you want to just kind of bring each side out a little bit, enough to where you can start getting it up on the board, like so. Sometimes you actually got to also grab the top of your case here that it goes in, because people like to sit on this, and it bends them down, and it'll keep you from pulling the PTACT out. As easy as you should be able to. So, this is our PTACT, and when we get this out, what we're going to inspect, why we really need to get this all out, is we want to look at our condenser, and we also need to look inside underneath this panel. But you'll take these out, and what we're looking for is, I mean, this looks really good. I mean, there's not dirt or leaves or anything hanging off of it. It looks really clean on this side, but where all the dirt, you're going to find all the dirt is on this side of the coil, because when your fan runs in here, it's pushing everything through this coil. So all the main dirt is on underneath this cover. This unit's not real bad inside. There's not a lot of water in it, but generally you will find water sitting in these in the bottom tray, which is not unusual because some of the units that's used to actually help cool. Some units have a special ring on the fan blade that actually picks that water up. There's quite a bit of dirt in there. See that down in there? That's what we call kind of wearing a sweater. There it's clean, there it's dirty. So what we're going to do is I've got a brush that we just picked up. It's got nylon, and I'm going to try that out on this because it's kind of hard to get your hands down in there. So I thought this might help us out. So we'll take and just go up and down like this. And it's breaking it off. But I like to use the vacuum when I'm brushing the coils and the dirt's coming off to kind of just pick it up and try to cut down on the amount of dust in the air. I've also got this brush, which is a little stiffer, which we can come down in here and kind of break this up even a little better. We'll throw this kind of down in here just to kind of let it pick up dirt as it falls. And I can see the vacuum's just catching it all as we're going. Just kind of to move around here a minute. Now some of these you got to be careful on when you're doing them on these older PTACTs, because you can sometimes this stuff just falls apart. The fins of the condenser. These aren't really doing it, but I've seen it happen more on the outsides of them than the insides. But something you should watch when you're cleaning these out. And you always want to go up and down. You don't want to do anything like this. Of course, this brush is so thin, it would be hard to really go back and forth, but you can mess your fins up if you try going right to left instead of just up and down. So we've cleaned our coils off. Like I was saying, if they were bad enough, we would take it outside and clean them with a hose, but we can't really do that in here because there's no place for the water to run to except the carpet, and I don't think housekeeping would like that too much if I turn their carpet into a dirty, muddy scene. So I'm going to hit the inside of this one more time for where we can hit, and then we're going to slide this, we're going to clean the cabinet up that this goes into. There's a drain right here that I'm shining my light on. That's actually a drain from the front of the unit where water will come down into this fan from the condenser. That's where your condenser water goes to, and it drains into here. Then any water that this unit picks up will drain. If it gets higher than this little point right here, this is a drain also. This hole, one on each side. And that does is the water gets that high and then it runs out. That's why I say normally there's water, at least about a ½ inch of water inside these units. And the reason they do that, have water get into them, is because of the fan. This fan here actually has what they call it's a ring that picks up the water. And it actually would be running through the water that sits in the bottom of this tray. And that's to help cool. It actually would throw water onto the condenser to help it cool down. So if you don't have water in here, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you do have water in it, I wouldn't worry about it either, because they are supposed to have it. So we'll let this back part go. We still got the front to do, but before I can put this back in the cabinet, I'm going to clean this cabinet out. And we want to make sure that drain is open, which it probably is with as dry as this cabinet is, because if it wasn't open, the water wouldn't drain out. So we'll just get our rag here that we've been using. We'll just kind of do a quick wipe out on this, because the reason we're wiping this out, if you got any big particles of stuff that's floating around, it could actually block your drain. And if the drain gets blocked and it doesn't drain, the water has no choice but to come into the room with the paying guest. And since the water's not paying to stay here, we don't want that to happen. So we've made quite a difference in this. Now the one thing you can't keep from plugging that hole up though, sometimes bugs crawl in there, then they die. And then when you got a lot of water in there, they start floating towards the drain. And if you got big enough of a bug, it's gonna plug that drain right up. And then you're still gonna have water. So we got the backside looking good. So we'll go ahead and slide it around. when you're going back in on this board, you just kind of lean it back and then get it kind of aimed in there. Work your board out. And sit her back in the sleeve. Look in here in this front where the screen, the fan screen goes, that somebody put in upside down. But this area here, the reason we try to get it cleaned up, because when people use this as a seat, or they use it as a table, or they use it as a cup holder and spill their drinks, spill their food, you know, whatever they got. Also, so we can get down into this unit. But down in here, we've got a squirrel cage going on, and it's what turns and, you know, pushes all your air around. So we'll just go ahead and take our damp cloth and try to clean it up a little bit. Well, what we're going to try to do is clean the wheel off here. So we'll use our brush and just start going through it. You can see it flying off. And we're going to run this little brush that we used back on the condenser around this blower wheel and knock all the dirt off of it that we can see flying around as I'm doing it. Yeah, that's a lot better. Tons better. Yeah. So just try to get on anything big laying around here. We'll get down in under the wheel. Oh yeah, you can see that coming out. Take this towel or washcloth and make it roll down through there and kind of push out any of that dirt that we couldn't get. Let me get rid of this cloth and get a different one. I'll keep cleaning. I just like to wipe down some of this other stuff in there. I mean, it won't be perfect, but it'll always be better than it was better when I left than when I got here. Mm-hmm. So now the back side of our coil here, we'll just look at it. Since we got all this stuff out, we'll just kind of give it a little brush. All the dirt is usually on the outside of the coil. Now on this coil, we're going to use coil cleaner, because you can use that on these evaporator coils for where you don't have to have a hose and clean them off. We want to look at this real quick. This is the heater on the unit, and they also get pretty dirty. In fact, I hate to clean it up there. We'll do it down here. We'll just kind of come in here gently with our brush, because you don't want to go full out crazy brushing on stuff, or you might break something. You might break a connection. I mean, if it breaks, it breaks. It happens. And it's mounted up on top of this. There's a little red button, and sometimes if you don't have heat, it could be because that breaker tripped, or for shocking people if, say, something was grounding out so that it shuts off. But it's always good to know you got that breaker there, because most people don't. this off a little bit too. Sometimes you got this extra wire that's been run here, this yellow wire. It's a sensor, like an add-on aftermarket deal, that measures temperature, like either coming in the unit or going out of the unit. And so that gets added on to give you a little more information when you're checking these out. And then we'll just drop this back down into place. I was going to do this because there's a bunch of dirt hanging up here around the top of that. So I wanted to just hit that and knock it off.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Now this is the evaporator. Now with the evaporator, we'll take and clean them off like this, and then I've got some cleaner that I put on it. And, so this stuff, Simple Green foaming coil condenser cleaner, you normally have to kind of shake this stuff up pretty good. So we're gonna shake it up, just like in the song, the Cars, shake it up. Let it sit for about 5 minutes, and it's just gonna soak and push out any of the dirt, and then we're gonna start the unit up and get it running to let that evaporator start sweating like I am, and it'll start cleaning this stuff off the coils. I try to get up real high and try to go straight in. But we're just trying to force it in. Slot. Here we go. And then there's a little clip here that should clip onto, and then your screws just go down on each end. And this is how it should look. So let's go ahead and we'll just plug this up. Now when you're putting this cord in, there's a little compartment down in here that you kind of just wrap it up into it. And that helps take up all the excess cord, because there's quite a bit of cord here on these. Once it starts running, well, it won't come on unless I plug this in too. Once this starts running and condensing, the condenser starts condensing water, that water will start running down inside the unit. Right now it's sucking the air in, and it kind of sucked the foam in, which is good. We'll let that wait till the compressor gets started, and then we'll be able to finish putting things together. But when a guy comes into the room to do a PM, this is basically
what they're doing.
They should be doing.
Oh, and now, that's why it takes like 3 to 4 hours. Well,
not 3 to 4 hours, but doing this deal here, probably 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. If you got to take it outside and wash it with the hose and everything, that could go up to 2 hours. Mm-hmm. That you couldn't have this in the room. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they just don't want to wait that long. Mm-hmm. But as long as everything's working on and working good, you know, we can clean them out this way. But if we get them to where they're really super excessively dirty, then yeah, they're going to have to go outside, and they're going to have to meet Mr. Hose. Mm-hmm. And get hosed down. And when you're doing that, you got to take a lot of precautions too, because of the electronics. So maybe we'll be doing a video where we clean them out outside, but hopefully most of the time we can just get by like this. Mm-hmm. But sometimes your luck only runs so long. Mm-hmm. But by the time we put our cover back on this and wipe off some of the areas, and I'll vacuum the floor up a little bit where I made a mess, and I'll be out of this room. I'll be on to something else. So I guess until next time, we'll see you.